I'm trying to be more descriptive, especially when we're doing an audio recording, because I want to, be cognizant of the fact that there are going to be people who are listening to this in an audio format. And I want to make sure that we also don't rely on the fact that we have a video overlay or anything like that. But Steve, you always reminded me and other members of the group that, it's always good for us to go over our safety tools. And especially now that we've got a new person at our virtual tabletop. So we are using the X card. You could type in the X into our Zoom chat if you want, or you could just do this. Just do this like that.
Cross your arms.
Cross your arms. We are also using the O card because, as you saw in episode 4, where things got real steamy, real tense, we are using the O card to ensure that we all know that we are okay when we are, role-playing scenes of intense emotion. Agatha actually suggested that we make heart hands instead of O's. So we're doing heart hands to signify that we're okay with what's going on, even though it might seem tough. So very important. We're using those two. We also have our lines and veils. So right now, our lines are sexual assault and sexual coercion, violence against children, slavery, and racism. So those are things that we can have in our game, but not in great detail. Our veils are intense gore, sex, and dental damage. Is there anything that you would like to add? And you don't have to actually say it in audio format. If you want, you can always type it to me in the Zoom chat as well.
I think that covers it for me.
Okay. So our lines and veils are not changing, but I'm still glad that we've gone over them. Oh, Steve.
I'm gonna add a veil.
Yeah,
just,
go for
just
it.
recently based on some things that have happened in my experience and dreams and things like that. I'd like to remove finger and fingernail damage.
You'd like to remove or add?
Add as a veil. Add as a veil.
Finger and fingernail damage.
Mm.
I'm trying not to get any keyboard sounds in the recording, so I'm doing it on my phone. I'm not calling anybody out specifically.
Yeah. And while you do that,
oh my god! Oh my gosh!
So finger.
I should type right now.
No, finger and fingernail damage now is a veil, and we won't do that. That's actually, that's actually a really common veil that I have that I didn't include in this. But that's one of mine that's really common in all of the games I play. I don't know.
I was watching a TV show, like a movie or something like that, and it happened on screen. I wasn't prepared for it, and I was like, "Wow, this really affected me." So now that we're talking about safety tools, now is a great time to bring it up. Where I'm like, it just turns out I'm not comfortable with that.
Yeah, and again, these safety tools are flexible. If we want to remove one next session, we can. If we want to add one, like we just did, totally there. One thing I also want to go over are our wishes. We always forget to do this.
Actually, can I add a veil?
Yeah, totally. What do you want to add?
Body shaming.
Okay.
Do you want that as a veil or as a line?
Yeah. I guess a line would make more sense.
No, they both make sense. Having body shaming as a veil. Sorry, having body shaming as a veil would mean it would be there. It would just not be there in great detail.
Impact.
A line, sorry, and I got this mixed up earlier now that I think of this. A line would be like there would be no body shaming at all. Either work. It's just whatever you'd like.
Let's make it a line.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that means that there is no body shaming at all in our game. Perfect. So I've added that as a new line. So the things that cannot be in this game are sexual assault and sexual coercion, violence against children, slavery, racism, and body shaming. Things that can be in the game but don't need to go into great detail are gore, intense gore, sex, dental damage, and finger and fingernail damage. Perfect. I also want to go over our wishes. Like I said, we haven't gone over these, and I think going over our wishes from the last session is a really good idea to kind of lean into more of what we wanted, because this is our story. This isn't my story. This is our collective story. And now, Jade, you're a part of the story. We will figure out a way to add your character after. So, wishes from last session. Steve wanted to hug friends and be with friends. you wanted to. Oh wait. Sorry, that is the wrong wish. Although that is still a good wish.
I believe it. That sounds like me.
Oh yeah, that is. No, that is. This is the right one. Steve, you wanted that is valid. You wanted to hug friends and be with friends. You wanted to learn more about the body of the noble that was found in the Shadow Marquee in the Shadewood in episode 8. So you wanted to learn more about how that ended up happening. Ammar wanted to learn more about the four nobles. Agatha wants Ammar and Steve to get powers. Because Dongfeng got powers, and then Daniel.
Lead and Ning, right? I mean, I would like to get powers too, but
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Is what you meant.
That's right. And then I wanted.
Oh no! Sorry. Is this an update that I should have told everyone that I got powers?
Oh yeah, Agatha has powers. Masks became real. This just real life masks.
But let's move on.
Agatha and I are working on something related to masks very slowly. We got to do that thing.
Ooh, exciting!
Still very, very slowly.
Very slowly, but I think it's a great idea.
I'll send you notes.
Yeah, it's a new series that we're going to be doing that Agatha will lead in the future, 2021. I think it's a game changer. Anyways, and then for me, I wanted small talk with NPCs. But I actually want to change my wish to I want action.
Oh.
I want action.
All right.
Because I feel like we haven't done a lot of combat. And I know that's something Steve wanted too. And that was a wish of yours in a previous episode. So I would like combat. So those are all the things that we've wished for. It's time to get into what happened previously on Dungeons and Asians. In episode 9 of Dungeons and Asians, our heroes, Ning, Walid, and Dongfeng, traveled to the town of Liyue on their way to the shimmering Badlands on their quest for the next noble flower, the Oasis Bamboo. If you remember, our quest right now is all about destroying this large shard of jade that fell from the heavens and is slowly turning the southern floodplain, the geographic region that our game is currently taking place in, into stone. It is in Liyue that you met a brash young man named Han, who had taken it upon himself to protect the town from a gang of bandits who had been operating unchecked within the region. And despite the beautiful hot springs and the tasty food of this town, Liyue has been a town without hope, and its people harbor a deep resentment towards the empire. Wo Sun, the town elder and Han's grandfather, informed the players that the first empress, Xinxia, used their magical powers to aid them in committing an act of environmental terrorism against a group of people, a culture that the people in Xia call the people of bronze. At the same time, Walid himself seemed to have a strange relationship with the townsfolk, who seemed to think that they had met him before. In fact, our last episode was called, Is That You, Walid? We ended the last episode with Walid kind of chilling in a hot spring and then experiencing a hallucination of a red mist that engulfed the entire village. And that's where we left off. So I think do we want Jade to introduce her character now, or do we want the character introduction later? I'll let you decide. And Jade, what do you think?
I'm open.
I'm cool to get a description when sort of our characters meet her character.
Okay, yeah, that
Cool.
works for me.
Narratively, I want that too, but Steve wants to know about it now. Now.
Hold your brain, Steve.
Hold your brain. You know what I realized? That the Steve holding the brain is like that Jackie Chan meme when you go like,
Oh yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
That's Steve. We can get
my
we get art of Steve going.
Yo, if any of you also hold your brain when you get stressed out or you feel emotion, hit me up, because apparently I'm being shamed for this.
You're not being shamed for it.
No.
You're
No, I'm not being shamed for it. I'm not.
You're not being
We
shamed for it.
celebrate.
We're celebrating you.
You're
And
right.
We're laughing with you.
You're right. You're right.
We're
You're
celebrating.
not laughing, but
He
we're
wasn't
laughing.
laughing.
Oh no.
We are celebrating the unique features that we all bring to the table. And Steve, you happen to hold your brain when you're excited. I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful. So we are going to introduce.
Steve, your hair game is also on point. That's amazing. Anyway,
It looks
sorry.
so good. Sorry. Anyway,
No, it's okay. I mean, Agatha, you mentioned that Steve passively hair shamed you into brushing your hair.
every single time I'm on the same screen as Steve, I get shamed into brushing my hair, which I never do normally.
It's gonna bring me so much joy when I cut it all off and donate it, because someone's gonna be so happy with it, because I am doing everything I can to like take care of it, because it's going to someone else.
How long have you been growing your hair? I know we're going off topic, but how long have you been growing your hair?
Tell us your hair journey.
Fun hair story. So Steve's hair story is when I suffered a really bad sports injury and I couldn't walk for many months. My hair growth was actually a sign of my depression. I had a very intense situational depression, and it was very hard for me to function day to day. But once I was able to get through my rehab, which was very difficult for me and included a lot of backward steps, I realized my long hair. I have very healthy, good hair. A lot of people started complimenting me on it, so I decided to take this sign of depression and just really take care of it, and really like brush it and do research and do all these things, with the end goal being I'm going to donate it, because I'm going to cut away this signifier and it's going to go and do something really, really positive. And to this day, it makes me feel really, really happy to look at my hair and take care of it, because I know there's something else to happen.
Oh,
my God, Steve, that's so sweet.
I don't think I've ever shared that story with anyone outside of like me and my partner. So
thank you.
God, Steve's the best.
Steve's the best.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
But I also really appreciate the like redemption of or reclamation of the hair. As
Taking
from being a
ownership
symbol
of
depression and-
why it happened. I like
Yeah,
that.
that's beautiful.
Wow, Steve. Thank you for sharing that, by the way. That's a tough thing to share.
thank you for the space.
Oh, we're just Asians Represent always ends up being just all of us complimenting each other.
Oh,
Well, there's so much to compliment. Like, can't help it.
Yeah, y'all amazing.
Y'all are great. And Ammar, I'm excited for this new hat thing. You're just gonna have a new hat every single time. I can't
That's
wait.
my solution to the hair thing.
That's your.
I can't do anything with my hair.
I need
I'm
to
just
cut
gonna-
mine, but the background for me is dark. But you can't see that my hair is all like floofy and.
You look like Jimmy Neutron. Like, you have the potential to
Yeah.
become Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah.
I know. If
For
I think
sure.
if I like shower and then curl my hair, it'll look like the ice cream swirl Jimmy Neutron hair.
Yeah, I believe in you.
So that's like saying I should keep it then. I should keep it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see. But anyways, I would like to pick up right where we left off. Spotlight is on you, Waleed. Basking in that hot spring. I don't know if you're basking at this point, because right now you're hallucinating. Everything around you is red. It feels as though a fog has just set in on the village. And this red mist, crimson mist, has rolled in and has completely surrounded you. What are you doing?
I'm frozen in terror and in something of a flashback. This is just completely frozen, and like very tense. It's a hot spring, and you should be relaxed, but he's like trapped and being in a frozen, very tense flashback situation.
So almost like is Waleed making any sound or anything like this, or just like freezing up like that?
He's freezing up. There's sort of short, quick breaths when sort of taking a breath becomes like absolutely necessary. So he's distressed. Oh.
So all of you hear this like, Waleed, are you okay? Waleed. And Dongfang and Ning, you hear this. And this is
Waleed,
Shuang. This is Shuang. And she's like, Waleed, are you okay? And you turn and look.
Sorry, go ahead.
And you turn and you see Waleed is like sinking into the hot spring pool that he was sitting in. His food, his dandan mian, his noodles have fallen into the hot spring, and there's like food everywhere. And Waleed is slowly sinking, and Shuang is desperately trying to pull Waleed out of the water. But Waleed is like, muscular and very heavy, and Shuang cannot pull Waleed out. And it's as if Waleed is almost trying to is inadvertently sinking and drowning in the water.
Yeah.
And
He
Waleed,
started to imagine that the water has become red too. It's not
yeah,
good.
and as you're kind of going down under the water, Waleed, you feel as though these strong hands are pulling you under the water.
Oh,
The
no.
water around you looks like blood. The air all around you is misty with blood. And I don't think you can even hear Shuang at this point. The hands that are trying to pull you out of the water feel like they're pulling you down into the water. So Ning, Dongfang, you hear this, and you see Shuang try to pull Waleed out of the water as Waleed is sinking into this like this hot spring pool. What do you do?
Do you think Dongfang's closer, or do you think Ning's closer? Because I feel like
Ning
you
was,
and I both.
Ning was like sitting at the edge of like the tree line, being alone because Ning was coming to grasp with the fact that the Empire might not be good.
Yeah, and I think I went to have a drink with you.
Yeah, and
I
Dongfang
went
was
to
with
sit
you, so
down
you're
with
you're the same place.
We're basically at the same place. So I'm imagining that we would both immediately
Yeah.
dash towards Waleed.
Yeah, there's like that microsecond of making eye contact and just immediately knowing that this is an urgent situation.
Mhm.
And I think, yeah, we both spring to action. I think Ning is looking to, despite the fact that Waleed is much, much bigger than Ning, I think Ning's going to try to put her arms underneath his armpits and try to like pull him up like that. I don't know if that's going to succeed or not, though.
Can you give it a
Don't-
roll?
Oh, okay.
So we are. Oh, Dongfang. What is Dongfang gonna do?
Dongfang was going to jump into the water and then help from the water.
Oh. So for those of you who are watching, I mean, you might have noticed that our overlay looks a little bit different. We figured out how to do this 3D dice roller over our video. If you're listening on audio, don't worry about it. Agatha just rolled. Or was that was
Nah.
that was
That's
Steve.
Ning.
Steve just rolled a 17. Now, Jade in Quest, I actually sent you a copy of the book, but in Quest, you don't roll with any dice bonuses. You just roll the die and you see what happens.
Right.
It's just a d20, flat damage die are how this game works, and an 11 to 19 is a success. So, Steve, you go and you try to pull Waleed out of the water and you assist Shuang. At the same time, Dongfeng, you dive into the water, because you can breathe underwater because you are a shrimp, and you begin pushing Waleed, and Waleed feels heavier. Dongfeng, you actually stand taller than Waleed, and Waleed just feels heavy. And as you pull Waleed out of the water, Waleed feels as though he was made of iron. And I think in this moment, because Waleed has some really interesting martial artist abilities so this is kind of what I was leading on. Waleed has some really interesting martial artist abilities for his character. And Waleed, you actually seem to have strengthened your body, sort of like unconsciously strengthened your body because you feel like something horrible has happened to you, and you've concentrated all of your chi to your skin, and you have basically rooted yourself in place, trying to prevent people from moving you. But unfortunately, this is causing you to sink in the water. And with great strength, Ning, Dongfang, and Shuang managed to pull Waleed out of the water. As you pull Waleed out of the water, you notice that the water itself, and Dongfang, you notice this too, it's no longer hot. The water is cold. As you pull Waleed out of the water. And as you pull Waleed out of the water and drop him down at the edge of the pool, the water once again begins kind of like heating up again all around you. Waleed,
With the.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
go
sorry,
ahead. No, go ahead, Ammar.
I was just gonna say, sort of with the temperature change and changing the scenery or whatever, Waleed kind of starts to come to a little bit. Still pretty out of it. Sort of, you kind of like maybe move a hand in front of his eyes and sort of doesn't really have anything.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really track the hand much, but sort of at least blinks a few times.
Yeah, and Waleed, you slowly begin to come to as you hear Shuang's voice saying, Waleed, wake up! And you kind of snap back.
Yep.
And you see Ning, Shuang, and Dongfang standing over you. You're soaking wet, covered in food, and you feel cold.
Yeah. Walid sort of like he's sort of on the ground, and so he grabs a fistful of dirt with his hands a little bit, kind of grounding himself a bit, looks from sort of each person to each person, and then tries to make a facsimile of his traditional roguish like prankster smile, but it isn't like he's not smiling with his eyes, and it just kind of looks like a weird parody of it rather than a genuine, like full-hearted like spirit of life that he would generally show when he smiled that way. So he's a little
rattled.
Rattled, yeah.
Yeah, feels a little rattled, and Han comes in and says, "I heard a commotion. What happened?" And they see you, Walid, with everyone else, like kind of lying there. You're cold and you're chilled. And Han says, he comes up and he kind of touches you, like just like on your upper arm, and you feel like chill to the touch.
Ooh, yeah.
And he kind of looks at you and says, We need fire. We need help. Pema, and just starts calling out for Pema. And this is the perfect time to introduce our new character, Pema.
Sweet. So I emerge. I'm Pema. Shall I go through, introduce a little bit of her backstory? Okay. Cool.
Yeah, if you want to, you could read through the whole like quest intro if you'd like.
Cool.
Or you could pick whatever you'd like from there, or just say what you want to say, whatever you want.
I can do that. Let's flex some quests.
Adventure.game, use code represent for 10% off your order.
Okay, cool. So my name is Pema, she, her. I'm 28 years old and I stand 5'3" tall. I'm the party's Feng. When people see me, they first notice my sun-speckled complexion and calm disposition. I wear hair ornaments and jewelry of natural stone, clay, and silver, lightly embroidered, simple, layered robes, and you can see on some of the layers light embroideries of flowers and like fruits. And I move with a reliable pace. I'm from Liyue. Liyue?
Yep.
Liyue, where my people are known for our unwilling participation in the genocide of the people of Bronze generations ago. And my family are haunted by this legacy. I believe in justice, but I wrote vain side can get in the way. I kind of mean prideful.
Yeah, cool.
And I dream of my beliefs and traditions being valued and accepted.
Awesome. And so for some context, Jade.
A lot there. That's great.
Yeah, there's a lot there. The people of Liyue are hesitant to really use their magical powers because they felt like they were used before.
And I was thinking that I might be one of the few Feng in the younger generation because the numbers have dwindled down since the tearing of the earth, which is, I guess, is the event where that happened.
Yeah. So you have you're one of a very rare few who are actually practicing. But I'll tell you that the Wosun, the elder of the town, forbids you from using more powerful abilities. So Han yeah, go for it.
Sorry. No, I was just going to say, I think I definitely carry that responsibility with me, but not in a heavy way, in a pragmatic way. Like the rectification of that sin is kind of like my duty.
Yeah. I like it. And so Han asks, he says, Pema, is there anything that you could do to help Walid?
What's happened?
Ning, Dongfang, what happened? Walid's just so cold.
He's ice cold. I don't know what's happening. But wait, who is this person? Are they your apothecary? Your medicine person?
Pema's our Feng. She helps us with okay, well, don't tell Wosun, but she helps us with some magical things. Pema can create fire and things like that.
As you're saying this, I go over to Walid, and are you lying down on the ground?
I think I'm like half sitting up.
Kind of half, yeah.
Okay. I cradle you as best I can. I guess you're quite heavy, so I just like put my arms around you.
So
yeah.
Oh, okay. So I was gonna say, so with Quest, Jade, since you haven't played it before, these abilities can be changed, especially with the Feng Shui. This is what is the equivalent to like a Chinese occultist or an exorcist or Agatha's doing the eyebrow thing again. It's almost like the generic magic user before the Taoist sort of wizard character kind of appears. The Han Dynasty in China was kind of this time when perceptions of occultism and the esoteric were changing because of religious changes in China. So you would be practicing an older tradition that might clash with newer beliefs.
Would that be called like sort of the folk magical traditions?
Yeah, it's like the folk magic.
Okay.
How would Ning's family feel about this kind of folk magic,
I don't
considering
know.
she comes from a big city?
Well, you probably have never seen whatever Pema is about to do.
Oh,
Because I don't think Ning has studied in the arts of spycraft and assassination, but never in the magical arts.
I think Ning will like reach out to like grab Jade, your character's like wrist. Maybe I don't know if I can actually grab it, but like this seems like really dangerous, and Waleed's like in a lot of trouble here. So I think it's a reaction of like don't do what you're going to do. I don't trust you.
I want to save your friend. I plead.
I think there's
And I wait for your approval, I think.
wow. Okay, so I think with that moment of like silence, that's enough to know that your heart is honest here. And I think Ning maybe like backs off a little bit, but clearly is like staring daggers here, like a cat, like readiness in case something happens.
Cool, yeah. I move back a bit, and I hold my hand out like this, and I blow a gust of wind. Shall I list to you my?
It does.
What the spell is?
You could. So which spell are you using?
Burn, which is burn.
Yeah.
It's blowing hot air.
So you're going to use burn. You're not. Are you going to spend an adventure point to overcharge it, or are you just going to use burn?
To overcharge. Oh, I see.
Yeah. So
no,
you're
I'm
not
just gonna
doing
use
damage.
burn.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you blow warm air all over Waleed, and as you blow, the air around you actually ignites in these soft flames that wrap themselves around you and Waleed. Ning, Dongfang, and Shuang, you can all feel the heat from it, but it doesn't feel like the kind of heat that can harm somebody. Rather, the kind of heat you feel as if you were sitting around a warm hearth. The heat that radiates from a campfire. The kind of heat that keeps you alive. And you notice that it doesn't burn any of Pema's beautiful clothing or ornaments. And Waleed, you begin to feel incredibly warm, and then the red mist all around you kind of begins to be dissipated by these flames.
Fantastic. Yeah, Waleed shivers, which seems a bit odd, but he shivers for a second, but then you can visibly see him relax, like his entire tense body is starting to relax.
I hold your face to feel whether or not it's still cold.
And
I assume it's warm.
It feels warm, and then the
It's coming
flames
back.
kind of dissipate, and they kind of leave Waleed's beard with like this glow for a second there.
Like little firefly, like just twinkling out. Yeah,
Exactly. And Han kind of looks at Pema. Thank you so much. I saw this commotion, and I mean, you've been helping me solve problems here. Pema, you and Han have been the only ones who have been kind of holding these bandits back from, bothering the people of Liyue. A local gang, this is information that the party kind of only got half of in the last session. A local gang called the Dragon Valley Gang of Bandits are being led by two people, Flying Swallow and Lee the Mountain. Two bandits who have been, operating unchecked here. There is no military presence. The Emerald Standard are not here. There are no sovereign banner until at least Ning came through. There is no authority on the fringes of the Xia Empire. And so they've been kind of operating in this area. Han has been killing them as he sees them. But how have you been dealing with the Dragon Valley gang?
I think. What do we know of them?
So you know that they have two leaders, like they had Flying Swallow and Lee the Mountain, and they are literally made of criminals, military deserters, and people who are just looking for authority.
And they're just like shanking people.
They're murdering
around.
people. They're stealing from villages, and that's primarily what they're doing.
Yeah.
All the bad stuff.
Yeah. Mainly, I think I've been watching guard, and I don't think that I'd be necessarily interacting in combat directly, because I think more so I'd want to dissuade them. I'd be wanting to dissuade them. So I'd be casting spells to spook them.
Oh, cool.
And to like warn them away from the village to a certain success.
Nice. So like maybe when when you know that they're approaching from the forest, you kind of set things ablaze with magical fire to scare them off. Things like that. Awesome. So yeah, that's Pema. Pema and Han have this working relationship. Pema is a lot older than Han. Han is like in his like late teens. He's just a like brash young man, kind of like Luffy at the beginning of One Piece. Steve, did the eye roll again?
Snort eye roll, yeah.
I love Luffy.
I do too. So what's happening now? Waleed, what are you doing?
I was thinking that maybe while sort of the camera is on the two of them explaining what's been going on with this dragon gang, when the camera cuts back, Waleed is wearing full armor, has his sword out, and says, "We must clearly take them out."
So it's like, bandits. I heard there were bandits, and you put on your armor that doesn't quite match your clothes.
Yeah. It's a little remarkable how quick the change has been, but he's like, "Yeah, let's go fight some people."
And Schwag says, "Waleed, I don't think you're fit to fight. What just happened to you?"
I'm fine. Water was a little too hot. I get a little sunstroke. I'm fine.
Waleed, you don't have to lie to us.
Who's lying? All right, let's go. And he starts to walk away.
Well, he just starts walking.
I look to Ning just to see how she's responding to Waleed's.
I think as Waleed walks away, there's a moment last episode where I think Ning put a hand on Waleed's shoulder, and there was a moment of calm a little bit within kind of the emotional turmoil. And I think Ning places a hand on Waleed's shoulder, and maybe it's reminiscent of that same moment they had earlier that day.
Yeah,
and
Waleed stops.
Like as Waleed's walking away, you kind of reach out and grab Waleed's shoulder.
And I think Ning says, "I understand. We'll take care of this. As long as you're okay with it."
Waleed turns back, and Ning is the only one who's close enough to see sort of his eyes have started to water. Actually, he's starting to tear up. That might have been one of the reasons he was trying to walk away. He says, "Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll take care of it together," with sort of false bravado. Oh, poor Waleed.
Oh, poor Waleed.
I think Ning sends him away, and Ning says, "Waleed, go prepare. We'll call you when we're all ready, and inform you of the plans."
Sounds good. Catch up with you soon. I'll meet you at the pub.
Yeah, we'll meet there.
There's a little stand where you can go to get drink and food. You get like peanuts and like a strong like sorghum liquor. Oh,
you mean a sorghum liquor called Baiju?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That thing, it's too much.
Wait, so I just turned away. Do you have a bottle with you? What?
You're my hero. I love that.
I don't know if hero is the word.
I don't know if I hear masochist.
I know what I said.
Yes.
Well, Lead, as you sit down to.
I also have this.
Oh my god! Oh, what?
A bottle that just has 3 X's on it. You're a class act.
So the story behind that, and sorry, I'm
No. This is totally relevant.
an alchemist friend of mine was trying to make early on in the pandemic. You couldn't get hand sanitizer, so he was like, "I'm going to make my own hand sanitizer. I'm going to make my own hand sanitizer." Anyway, that's 75% moonshine made in a bathtub still. So,
How much of that have you consumed?
It's hand sanitizer, Daniel. You don't consume it.
It's labeled like
alcohol.
moonshine.
Yeah.
I'm asking for context.
Yep.
No, he was trying to make hand sanitizer. He wanted to make alcohol that was like strong enough to be hand sanitizer.
Steve.
I have had a quarter of a shot, and it goes right to your head. It's 75%. It is vile.
It's cleaning fluid, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Oh,
but,
okay.
God.
Baiju is not much.
No, it's not.
Better, I have to be honest. Baiju is
No.
terrible.
Yeah. There is no heroes in this story.
I mean, I'm kind of in awe. I have to unpack where that's coming from. Though.
Yeah, that she just had this here. It's like, and I'll say this: I didn't tell Ammar that there would be any like Bijou in this scene in this episode. Like, we never talked about this. Ammar you just had it.
Wait, so is it the same thing? Because I always thought of sorghum liquor as gaoliangjiu, like literally the gaoliang. And that's a thing that people always gift each other in Taiwan, because in Jinmen, which is like one of the places, it's very famous for making them. Anyway,
my only experience with sorghum liquor, I don't actually know the word for it, because my only experience with it was, this is sorghum liquor, and it came in a clay jug that was put on the table, and we drank it, and it sucked. It was the worst.
That very well might be Baiju, actually. Which is to say, my understanding is Baiju just means like white liquor or clear liquor.
Yeah.
But
I guess in different places
refers to. Yeah.
It was. It's that shit's terrible. But regardless, you sit down at this small stand that's run by this old lady, and she comes and she like lifts up this massive jug with 2 fingers, plops it down in front of you, puts out a little clay cup, a small clay bowl full of like salted roasted peanuts.
Nice.
And she tells you, she's just like, for your problems, and she could tell something's going on with you.
Oh. This is the old line about how all bartenders are therapists. Kind of handshaking, Waleed reaches into the bowl of the peanuts and sort of manages to grab one, brings it to his mouth, and basically at the last second just kind of ends up licking the salt a little bit and then just dropping it. Like, he can't bring himself to even eat it. Like one peanut. Oh, he's in a place, man. And he sort of tries to pour himself a little shot. Again, hands shaking, but he kind of does that.
Spills it all over.
Yeah, but he sort of has a little bit of it.
And back at the hot.
Himself.
Yeah, and then back at the hot springs, Han kind of turns and says, Pema, thank you so much for helping. I know you're busy.
Oh, it's not a problem at all. But let me know if anything else happens, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, who knows when the Dragon Valley gang is going to be here next. I think it's been only a couple days since we last encountered them. I mean, only one of them met my blade, so who knows? I thought they'd be scared off by now.
Yeah, me too.
But I mean, maybe next time they come, we'll have Ning here. And Ning, you're a soldier. You're from the capital. You could tell them not to, right? They'll listen to you.
And I think at that moment in time, Ning puts a hand on Han's shoulder, not the same way that she had done for Waleed, but it just kind of pushes him to the side and speaks to Pema. Is it Pema?
Pema.
Okay, I'll get that.
How do you Latinize that? Paymei or something?
Pema, Paymuh. Is how you would say it, I guess.
Yeah.
How do you spell it though?
Pema.
Okay.
So I think Ning is looking at Pema, and Pema's a little bit shorter than Ning, which Ning's not used to. Because Ning has a solid 2 inches here.
Oh.
But Ning says, you have done us a favor, and we'll see it repaid in kind. These bandits or whatnot, we'll take care of them. You needn't worry any more about them. It is handled.
Amazing. Thank you. And I reach out my hand. Do we handshake here? Is that a
You can handshake here.
standard greeting?
Or like
I'm not going to. I'm gonna. Oh, sorry.
You can do one of those.
Yes. No, I'm gonna bow slightly, and I'm gonna say, Pema.
Yes. Commander Ning of the Law family.
So formal.
We'll see it done. Any information that you have on these bandits will be much appreciated. But otherwise, we have the numbers, we have the force. We can see them wiped out completely. Think nothing of it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that would be super helpful. And is your friend okay? He seemed a little shaken.
You really care about this, don't you?
I've never seen anything like that happen before.
Why do you care so much?
I'm curious.
I thought all of you hated us.
And I'm like, you? Maybe not registering. I'm assuming you're not in your.
Yeah, because remember you changed out of your uniforms last episode.
Yeah. But there was a big old show where Ning was exposed as a commander incognito.
Yep, and you just introduced yourself as Commander Ning of the Law family.
Yes, true. I say.
In that moment, you hear like a gong, gong. The town bells are going off. Pema, you know this to be the sound of danger.
Oh, okay. The bandits are here, I say.
Could be the bandits. It could be anything. Could even be like a bear coming through the area, or wolves, or anything like that. But the bells are going. The bell is going off, and people begin closing their doors.
Okay, I say danger, and I instinctively reach my hand out and just put it on Ning's arm because she's in front of me, and I start heading towards the edges.
You can always go to the entrance to the town. There's a big arch that kind of serves as the main gateway into Liyue.
Cool. I start heading that.
Excuse me, where do you think you're going?
There's the bells. The bells are ringing. There's danger. There's danger to the town.
Yes, of course. Seek shelter. My men and I, we can handle this.
I can come. I can come too. I've been taking care of this village for a long time now. You
see Han kind of running past you. He says, "Pema, we have to go," and it just kind of takes off.
I leave. I think I left at some point during this negotiation.
So everybody just leaves Ning, and Ning is just standing there.
Well, I was going to actually go to where Waleed is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So at that stand, I think they had some seeds or something there where as soon as the bell started going off, Waleed's hand shoots to his dao.
Yeah.
And asks the friendly bartender, "What's that?" And I assume they tell me that it's the bell.
He says it's the bell. It rings when there's danger. It's just Han and all of his friends ring it whenever there's a bandit nearby. Could be wolves. Who knows?
What do they gather? And basically is on his way out.
Han and his friends just like to go to the gates.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna pop by and like clap Waleed on the back and then ask the lady for a shot of the
let's go
liquor.
Well, the you see there's actually a little glass there, and the jug is there. You could just take a shot right now if you wanted to.
Oh yeah. That's what I do.
Good swig.
You take the swig sideways.
Sure.
Or you just pour it. Does it do anything to Dongfang's body when you consume alcohol? Like, does it change your color temporarily?
You get shrimp Asian flush?
I didn't even think about that. That's not even what I was trying to suggest, but maybe, do you?
I mean, I'm normally purple, so
Yeah.
maybe I turn a little more violet?
Ooh. Well, you know, like mantis shrimps have those like brilliant colors. Maybe when you drink it, as it goes down your throat, you could see the color change go through your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Down it. As you head to the what is Ning doing? Everybody's just kind of left you.
Everyone has just kind of left, which is ridiculous. And I think Ning kind of fruitlessly yells after Pema and says, "If you interfere with operation, I'll have you arrested." Knowing full well that's a completely hollow threat. That means absolutely
I'll have
nothing
you
here.
arrested as everybody's running away.
Yeah, and Ning looks to her commanders, the ones that have kind of lag behind, and just kind of goes, "Well, what are you waiting for? Suit up." And
they're all still sitting in the bubbling hot springs.
yeah, and I think Ning, goes to where they're to her belongings, suits up, and probably will arrive late to the inn, the drinking hole here.
Yeah, as you arrive at the gate, which is where everyone is gathering, Walid and Dongfeng and Pema and you three arrive as Han is standing there, facing off against a man. There's just one person standing at the gate. Han is seemed to be flanked by a whole bunch of teenagers. They all have like staves. Some of them have like cleavers. They don't have real weapons, but they seem to be Han's buddies who have taken it upon themselves to protect this village. Wo-sun, the elder, is kind of standing there from the entrance to his house, kind of just watching over everything, and as if he's not gonna do anything. As Walid and Dongfeng arrives, the person who is standing there kind of looks and says, "Ah, well, it looks like you've brought friends, Han and Pema," referring to the two outsiders. How do you react to that, Walid or Dongfeng?
I let Walid talk because Walid likes to talk, and I'll just do a little like elbow, like, "Yeah, you got this, right?" to Walid's elbow, and then I don't know,
Are they
like
sober?
actually. Sorry,
Are they sober? Like, is there one shot does them in? Or?
Yeah,
Walid had two shots right before this.
Right.
So
So I'm
he's-
just wondering if Dongfeng is sober.
I'm pretty sure that
Okay.
Dongfeng is sober.
I'm pretty sure it might not even have too much of an effect on Dongfeng other than the visual change.
Yeah.
Which was just cool as hell in my head.
So
Yeah,
Walid,
but Dongfeng is actually gonna try to like climb up to the gate somehow to like look around to see like what's going on around here. Like
there
why is just
isn't
one guy?
really remember, this is like a town. They don't have fortifications. The gate is really just an archway. To get
I'll
in.
climb the archway. It's fine.
So you're gonna just start climbing the archway. And
Yeah, I was like, don't mind me.
don't mind me. I'm just a climbing shrimp instead of a passing shrimp. I'm just a climbing shrimp.
Yeah.
Kind of looks and says, the person, he's got like a very thin build, a thin mustache. He wears like piecemeal armor. And Ning, as you arrive with your soldiers who are still wet, they're soaking in their gear. You see this person seems to be wearing gear very similar to the Emerald Standard, except it looks to be made like piecemeal armor. Damaged pieces kind of put together. He says, "I am Poison Yu of the Dragon Valley Gang."
Walid boldly struts in between the line of Han and everybody else.
Yeah.
And then this one guy, and like just kind of struts through, turns back, and says, "The what gang?"
The Dragon Valley Gang.
Oh, okay.
The notorious Dragon Valley Gang. This is our town.
Dagon Alley gang? Okay, that sounds pretty cool.
Dragon Valley Gang.
Right. Yeah, them. What do you want?
My bosses. They want your sword, Han. Now, Han has that special sword that looks like it's like almost transparent, made of crystals. Poison Yu says, "My bosses, Flying Swallow, Lead the Mountain, they want your sword. You've killed many of our comrades. We demand payment." Han kind of looks turns and sees you, Ning. I'm not giving you this sword.
And Ning says to him, "Shut up."
To Han?
To Han.
Han's taken aback.
And steps forward. And maybe just a step or two, a couple strides behind Waleed, says, "You have one and only one chance to walk away from this. Otherwise, you leave us no choice. We'll cut you down where you stand."
I'll cut you down where you stand.
No, boss. We gotta find out where the rest of them are.
As Dogfog is kind of like holding on,
climbing
the
up.
column. Kind of looks at you, and Poison You walks right up to you very confidently, stands like face to face with you, and says, "Who do you think you are? I'm Poison You, the Dragon Valley gang. We run this region."
And I think
And
at
it
that point,
pokes you right in the chest, like jabs you in the chest. Pulls out, looks to be like a thin knife soaked in like this like green fluid.
Mm-hmm.
You cut me down? One small wound from my knife, and you'll be in another world.
And Ning, without drawing her twin swords, kind of is taken aback by that shove on the shoulder.
Yeah.
I'd like to use my death hand ability.
Oh shit. Okay, cool.
So Ning is trained as one of the Shadow Sisters here. So versed in kind of quiet assassinations for various purposes. And you and I talked about this, how I want my death hand to look. And I know it's a single slug, but whenever you mentioned the Shadow Sisters, and I really want the death hand to actually be a manifestation that is, it manifests as the shadows themselves.
Do you think the shadows will like? Oh, I hit my baby Yoda. Sorry.
Oh, don't do that.
I'm
I think
so sorry.
What is that thing?
Oh, it's my
full size.
Oh,
it's beautiful.
it's my
Bobby.
yeah, my partner got it for me for my birthday.
Oh,
It's a good old alpha predator there.
Yeah, that is the alpha predator.
Yeah.
No spoilers here. So remember, we changed it from Shadow Sisters to just the Shadow.
The shadow, yes. So I think Ning's death hand, it takes many forms, but you can always see the action through her shadow. So maybe with the moon here, what you might see is Ning's shadow pull a sword and just strike.
Yeah.
And this person's shadow might react to it, but it would then manifest as this person's actual body here.
Yeah. So what happens is, as you get gently, who do you think you are? And they jab you right in the shoulder. You step back. You don't even touch your swords. You don't draw them like you said. But remember, our game yesterday kind of ended as the day is winding down. So the sun is kind of setting, and the trees all around are casting these shadows. And Dogfog from your perch. I don't know if you're like I feel like, is Dogfog just like hanging from two arms, or is Dogfog like holding on to one of the posts?
Yeah, I'm wrapped around one of the posts, and because I'm very tall, and I imagine this gate is not very tall, it just looks very strange. Just this giant shrimp like hanging out on this post for fun? Question mark?
Yeah.
But like if there's a zoom up to my face, I'm like, oh man. As soon as Poison You is like, I'm my blade. I'm
My
like,
blade.
Man. No.
And
I don't even like turn back to look because I'm still trying to inch up this post. But
Yeah.
I'm like, oh bae.
Waleed, you've had quite a bit to drink. Do you think this has taken a big effect on Waleed? Is Waleed a big drinker? Can Waleed hold his drink?
I mean, he's a bandit, so that seems sort of on brand to sort of enjoy drinks. At the same time, I don't think he had very much to drink at all, actually. But so whoever I guess the camera or the audience would notice that he stopped shaking, and it seems like being in the thick of battle is more fortifying than food or booze.
Yeah.
In this particular situation.
And Pema, you noticed this too, and Waleed. So the reason why I was asking to see if Waleed is focused, and so you just said Waleed is super focused. Pema, you notice that the shadows all like Ning's shadow has vanished.
Okay, yeah.
And Ning is just kind of standing there while everybody is casting long shadows all over the dirt ground. Ning's has disappeared. And you notice that where Poison Yu's shadow is cast, you see a second shadow appear next to it, almost like slides in like a snake. The shadow draws two blades and decapitates Poison Yu's shadow. As he jabs you, it says, "Who do you think you are?" He stops. And there's like this black line. A ring appears all around Poison Yu's neck.
Dark.
And his skin, his complexion turns pale, and he falls over dead.
Oh.
And
Oh wait, so does his head fall off, or?
Yeah, so he falls over dead, and as he falls over dead, his head kind of goes and rolls to the side.
God.
And
It like rolls away, and then the eyes meet the camera, like the dead eyes meet
Yeah,
the camera. It's like super close up.
but the cut is
Anime.
the cut is so
So
clean, and then and the blood shoots everywhere. No,
Well,
Han kind of looks at what was that? Everybody, all of Han's like buddies are just what was that? Pema, I don't know if you're taken aback by this.
I definitely am, and I think I'd want to see what happens. Like, I don't know how to respond to this.
I think Waleed sort of turns back to Han and Pema and says, "Do you know where the bosses of the Dagon Belly gang are?"
Dagon belly egg.
I don't.
Han kind of turns and says, "Yeah, there's an abandoned temple not too far from here. They've kind of made that their hideout." And Steve, remember, you've spent 3 adventure points to use Death Hand.
It's already recorded. I got you.
Dope. Death Hand is super cool because it hits for 6 HP, which doesn't sound like a lot if you're like used to D&D, but 6 damage in Quest is a lot of damage. And it will instantly kill any non-boss character.
Yeah. Like my character is 10 HP, so that would like more than half take me down.
Yeah.
A bit.
Now, I love that you made it a shadow also, Steve. Now, Han says, "Yeah, they're in a local temple. I mean, with your power, Commander Ning, we could take them all out."
And as a Han is speaking that, Ning holds up a finger and just points it without looking at him because he was supposed to shut up. And and Ning looks out to the darkness around her, the night here, and she says out in a very
getting dark now.
loud, commanding voice, but without yelling at the top of her lungs. And she says, "For all of you who followed this person, know that we are going to come for you, and we will destroy your hideout and anyone who stands within it. However, should you drop your weapons and come forward, we will arrest you and spare your lives."
And they kind of you hear no response, and I don't think you were expecting a response or anything like that. But you hear this voice kind of come and says, "I wish you hadn't done that." It's Wo-sun. He watched the entire time. Says, "They'll come for us."
Is Wo-sun here with us now? Because I know Wo-sun was like...
He's not like in the same like areas. He's been watching from his house. Remember, his house is the biggest house in the entire town. And you see him walking up to you, and he's seen the entire thing, and he says, "The Dragon Valley gang will be expecting Poison Yu to return. And now that he's dead, they'll come for the town. In the past, we've never had soldiers like yours," and he points to all of your soaking wet soldiers, "like yours here to protect us. We haven't had the violence of the Empress's hand here to protect us. You're travelers. We know that you're leaving soon. They will come and they will burn our town down.
I've already promised to take care of the bandits. This is my word, and I will see it through. So although they might expect Poison You to come back, they'll not know what hit them tonight.
Can I just say, I love that this became a Western.
Kind of did, yeah, and I love it.
I've been watching Westerns lately. I recently watched The Good, the Bad, and the Weird, which is a South Korean Western heavily inspired by The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, which I also rewatched. And also been watching like Akira Kurosawa's Jedageki. I'm sure I'm butchering that. Like period pieces that were like Westerns, like, you know, Yojimbo and Seven Samurai and stuff. So I am here for this.
He says, well, are you gonna go to their hideout, or are you gonna let them come here?
We have the advantage of first strike. They don't know about us unless any of them had scouts that saw us come in. But in either case, they'll never expect a full-on assault, I don't think. Especially if, and she kind of looks to her wet soldiers, if there's a distraction.
We see. Well, let's see what you capital folks are made out of.
Let me take you there. Let me take you to their hideout.
Han says, I'll go too. Pema, can I help?
I look to the
To you, they're just a bunch of boys. Like they're children.
Yeah. I refrain from scruffing his hair, but I'm like, but I feel that way, and I'm like, we'll need you here. We'll need you here at the village. So,
okay, okay. We'll protect the town. We'll put up barricades. All right, boys. Let's go do this. And then they all run off, and they kind of run off in various directions, and it doesn't even look like they know what they're doing. Up until this point, Han has been taking out bandits just based on sheer talent. There is no training here, nothing like that. And so they all kind of go off to go inform everybody to, board up their windows and stuff like that. If the bandits do attack Liyue, the people here will not be able to defend themselves. So as night comes, because this happened in the early evening, as night comes, are you going to go directly to their headquarters at the temple, at the abandoned temple?
Do you have anybody to leave at the village?
That would be to Ning.
I don't see why that'd be necessary. If our operation is a success, your village is safe.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know who might be out there still, who might be not at the base, and I just want to. I don't know. I haven't left the village in a long time.
And Ning resists the urge to roll her eyes and looks to Dongfeng and Waleed, especially to Waleed, and says, "What do you think? Would they send someone on a wild mission to take out the townsfolk while we're busy?"
Waleed says with sort of great bravado, "We could just leave most of the soldiers here. I mean, the four of us are just going to be enough to take care of 2 people and some bandits. It'll be fine."
Given what you've just seen, yeah, Waleed, I don't think you've ever seen Ning do something like that before.
Yeah, oh yeah. Waleed was very surprised by this too.
And I'm going to be like, hey, listen, they're pretty helpless. We're pretty helpless over here. And you saw that guy. It would make me feel a lot better if you could spare some folk here.
So be it. I want the distraction. I want the officers and troops to run up the obvious side while we infiltrate the back. But if you are that worried, and that will prevent you from being whole in this operation, so be it.
Literally, I think it would take like one soldier. I think it would just comfort the people of the village, to be honest. But yeah, that would mean a lot. Thank you.
Of course. And I think Ning has a very specific soldier in mind, an officer, maybe a lieutenant.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned that some of the officers here actually love not just the food, but like everything around the food, the people here, the environment, their overall nature, their culture.
This is like a vacation for them too.
Yeah, and I think that really resonated with maybe one or two officers here. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for Ning to maybe put a plan in motion, and we'll grab someone who feels very resonant to this village and actually ask them to stay and not take part of this operation.
Sure. Two of your officers, Huang and Wu, are both the prime candidates for this. So I guess you put them to work. Huang and Wu actually go out and they start collecting all of the teens and all of the young adults here, and you're like, okay, you got to stop what you're doing, and they start giving them proper instruction on what to do to defend the village.
Perfect.
Nice.
Yeah. Perfect. Exactly what I wanted. So
Barricade montage.
Barricade montage. Yeah.
we got a
Western thing.
Mulan training sequence.
Whoa. Sorry,
It's a big liberty. It's a big liberty.
Yeah.
No, the good one, the animated one.
Thank you. I thought you were trying to get me started.
You
on
can
Mulan.
you can almost always assume I'm not talking about 2020 Mulan.
Bless. Thank you.
Was the 2020 Mulan?
Yeah. See,
Exactly.
it never happened.
No.
It never happened.
Exactly. It's like there was never a Terminator 3. So
No,
weird.
it was Terminator 1, Terminator 2, Sarah Connor Chronicles, and that's it.
Yeah. Those were actually good.
Or you could just say there's just T2. That's all I need.
Yeah, really. I'm kind of there.
So they go to work in protecting the village. Wo Sun kind of looks and says, if this doesn't work, we're doomed. And
Ning shrugs. Like,
Ning shrugs. Yeah, you don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck.
How are the town folks reacting? Which is to say, can Waleed go from stall to stall getting free food?
I think you can. Ning definitely cannot.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think Waleed is gonna like talk up his prowess in battle and about how these bandits don't know nothing yet. And he's basically just gonna be like, I can get used to the hero business. People just give you free food and booze.
All of the older people are like, oh yes, you have to fight bandits on a full stomach, and they just start giving you food. You get all of these snacks for the road. You're not even going that far. And you get tons of food, and yeah, well, you actually come back with like an armful of like just full like preserved foods and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I pass it out to the soldiers too to sort of win some favor there to make friends.
Well, they go, oh, Waleed. And one of them even says, maybe you should be our commander. Like,
yeah, he specifically gave it to the sort of the frontline privates.
The same soldiers that you've been kind of hanging out with this whole time, like when you hung out with them after you came out of the Shadewood. And they kind of look at this and say, okay, so Waleed, what's the plan?
Ning? What's the plan?
So I think as Waleed looks to Ning has Dongfeng, Pema, and they're drawing in the dirt. They're basically planning things out. They're already doing it. Waleed is just behind here. So I think Ning is actually working Pema and trying to figure out where the temple is in relation to the town, and also where the roads lead and other forests and obstructions here.
Yeah, so there's an abandoned temple that once served the town of Liyue. People used to go to this temple to honor the gods and their ancestors. But for some reason, and this reason is unknown to Pema, the temple just was left and abandoned. It's now in an overgrown part of the forest, maybe a 45-minute march from here. The townspeople don't tend to go near there, but many kind of talk about how their ancestors still have, there are still relics that are dedicated to their ancestors there.
I share this with Ning and Dongfeng.
So how long have these bandits been in the are you asking me as the GM or the townspeople? I guess I would be asking the townspeople.
Yeah. They talk about how Flying Swallow and Lee the Mountain both served in the military. They both served in the Emerald Standard. So they weren't Sovereign Banner, but they used to be in the military, which is why they have like piecemeal armor from soldiers they might have killed on the roads and ambush, and even their own careers. The Dragon Valley Gang further reinforces the fact that the Empire doesn't do any good for the people.
Right, but so my question is, how long have they been around?
They've been doing this for about a year. At least harassing this town for about a year. Who knows how long the gang itself has been operating, and if they've done this to other fringe towns.
Amazing. This is Seven Samurai. I love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask a lot of questions that are more like, so how do they usually attack? Like,
what they usually do is the Dragon Valley Gang, they strike at any time of day. So they don't just come at night. Sometimes they attack in broad daylight. Once there was even a murder where they killed someone in the hot springs, and the hot springs were unusable for a long time because they ran red with blood.
Right. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. Their general tactics are they tend to ride through town on horses. They'll throw torches. They'll kidnap people. And sometimes they'll just come in and start smashing things. You hear tales about Lee the Mountain and how she stands taller than you, Dongfeng. A formidable ex-soldier. And Flying Swallow, and how he moves with the grace of a small bird, but attacks with the ferocity of a golden eagle.
And what is there an approximate on their numbers?
Some of the townspeople, they get, if you talk to like the local defenders, the local militia that are led by Han, they'll say hundreds, and they'll say that each of them have slain a dozen of them. But the elders will say that, this is a gang of maybe 40 people.
So boss, I think the best way to go about it is, if they don't mind that we burn their temple, like these people, we should try rooting them out, all of them, right? Unless you wanted the soldiers to do it, but I was thinking we could set fire.
I feel they're going to be afraid at this point. I'm banking on the fact that someone saw me kill Poison Yu. So they're going to be afraid. They're going to be acting on instinct here. I do think we have an opportunity to completely destroy the structure, rooting them all out. But I want to play into their fear. We have numbers. We have the armor, the weapons. I think we take a section of the soldiers, have them march, make noise, have them come up the obvious path. And we send a very small team. Dongfeng will lead. Pema, I suppose. And we try to find a section, a weakness, something they're not looking at. And if we can cut off the head of the snake, I think we end this.
Good question. Steve, I'm not sure what the limits of Ning's powers for appearing like other people are. I was wondering if maybe you could come in as Poison Yu, and that would freak them out if they thought that he was dead.
It has to be a persona. So
okay, it's your own persona, right?
It's like an alternate identity, so not like a magical disguise necessarily.
Yeah, it's not like you shapeshift. It's your personality changes so much to the point where you appear to be somebody different, psychologically, I guess, to somebody else.
I like that.
So you're gonna send a small detachment to actually engage with them in like a frontal assault, and you folks are gonna try to find a way around to take out the leadership.
That's the plan, yeah.
Okay, and you're gonna strike at night.
Sorry, I was just gonna ask. Am I familiar with the temple, or is it just like completely?
I don't think you've ever been.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you've ever been. You know where it is, but I don't think you've ever been.
Okay.
Han coming with us too, by the way?
No, Han was Pema told Han to stay at the village.
Yeah.
Okay.
Han is Pema knows the true extent to Han's prowess, and it's not Han is
Cute. It's cute.
it's cute. Han is like one of those characters in like a story who just has a fancy sword, and has been lucky up until this point.
Nice. It also kind of reminds me of like the first couple of episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender, where they've got the little town that Aang goes to when he's discovered, and they've just got kids left because all the adults have gone off to war.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I gotta rewatch
Sokka
Avatar.
is the oldest. Oh, it's so good. Sokka has like a proper club thingy, and he's the one who's trying to create fortifications and train everybody. I kind of think of Han as a bit like that.
Yeah. Think of Han like Sokka. That's actually a really good comparison. Never even thought about that. That's a perfect comparison. Kind of goofy, tries his best, means well. Totally. So
Occasionally gets a couple of good hits in.
yeah, exactly. He when he's needed, when the story needs him to succeed. So Steve, Ning, we are approaching under the cover of darkness.
That is correct.
Okay. So Pema, you were able to lead your small strike team to the temple. You could hear the loud marching of the Emerald Standard approach from the main road. The five of you, maybe Dongfeng might have a little bit of difficulty because Dongfeng, you're very large, weave your way through the dense forest that leads into the temple's ground. Now, from the temple grounds, there are a couple of ways to enter. The soldiers will be approaching from the west. Now, from the west, the soldiers will be attacking from the front gate. Now, this temple is a little strange when you come to actually see it. When you approach the temple grounds, you see a couple of buildings. You see one that kind of looks as though they are housing everybody. You see another that is definitely a place where they used to store temple documents, sacred scrolls, statues, and things like that. And the other you see in the darkness, a very scary looking building. The abandoned temple that the Dragon Valley gang are working out of appears to be a massive, jagged series of stones that are emerging out of the ground. And it looks as though this rock formation has been hollowed out. And at quick glance, it actually looks as though these jagged pieces of stone that, like tower over the rest of the buildings look like flower petals. Can I get all of you to please roll your d20s just to see how we're doing stealth-wise?
Who do you want to roll first?
Whoever wants to roll first. Pema is kind of, well, he's like, I'm going.
Up.
Oh!
Oh!
There's no point.
And my favorite part about this is that in the overlay, this landed directly on Ammar's camera. The one is just gonna sit there. Can I get the rest of you to roll as well?
Of course.
Agatha rolled a 15. It kind of went off camera. Steve got a 4.
Ooh, okay.
Pema, a 5.
Oh no.
Dongfeng, the very large one.
It's because I have dark vision.
It's because you have dark vision because you're a shrimp.
Yeah.
For those listening, I rolled a 1. Just
That's why. Yeah,
it was obvious. But.
I said every other one, but yeah, Ammar rolled a 1. So 1s are bad. I mean, we already know that in any other game, but in Quest, 1 is a catastrophe. All of you failed except for Dongfeng.
Great. Well, they can see something like they can see in the dark, right?
So Dongfeng, you were able to actually sneak into the temple compound. This temple compound, like I said, consists of a building that they've constructed to sleep in. The original, you could say, residence of the monks and priests who actually lived in this temple. This is where they stored all of their sacred scrolls, their texts. And then there is the temple structure itself. And this building kind of looks like a lily almost. It's really strange looking. Now, Dogfeng, as you kind of make your way into the temple complex, you find yourself standing in the middle of a garden that they have planted for themselves. And as a bandit emerges from their bandits begin to emerge from their residence, hearing the stomping of all the soldiers who are approaching from the west. You folks are approaching from the north. Dogfeng, what do? You are going to successfully hide. Will you pretend to be like a scarecrow? What are you going to do?
I will lay down in the garden and use the flowers as cover.
So you lay down in the garden, and there are like gourds, there are like eggplants here, there are like all sorts of. This is an edible garden. You lay down amongst them, and your purple color actually blends it in the darkness with the eggplants as well.
Yes, that is what I am.
We're gonna go to Waleed, and how would Waleed have been approaching? You're gonna fail, and it's gonna be a severe setback for the group. But what's gonna happen?
I think Waleed will try to climb the wall on the north side, but like the armor and his weapons and stuff are just clanking all over the place when he jumps down from the top.
Yeah,
and just like it just kind of makes it a rattling.
So there was actually, since this temple complex is very old, there was actually a worn hole in one of the walls that Dongfeng was able to make their way through. This hole in the wall is actually made by the roots of a tree as they kind of bored their way through the walls. Waleed didn't see this because Waleed can't see in the dark. And as Waleed, Ning, and Pema are climbing over this wall, Waleed, as you jump down, the straps on your armor and your back catch on a hanging branch. And as you jump down, you find yourself now hanging from a tree by your armor. And as you're hanging by the tree by your armor, you look down and you see there is a bandit who seems to be taking a piss by this tree. As you fall, the collar of your suit of armor kind of catches your neck and you make a loud, audible gasp. And this soldier kind of looks up at you. You make eye contact with him. He makes eye contact with you, and you are both in a very vulnerable position.
Truly catastrophic.
Truly catastrophic. And he kind of like slowly does his pants up, turns, and he sees Pema and Ning both climbing over the wall.
Yeah.
Waleed like smiles and like kind of waves at him.
Hey, Waleed, you're decked out in armor, so is Ning, and Pema, you don't really have any war gear on, so you just look like a normal person. You got some fancy jewelry, though, like you said. And he kind of just yells, "Imperials!" And bells go off. You hear noises. At the same time, the soldiers have not caught up yet.
No.
The soldiers are near the entrance, but and people just turn. Torches are lit. He draws his sword. At least 4 other bandits appear, all wielding crossbows.
I think I've never experienced anything like this before. Like so directly aggressive.
They turn and they are going to make 4 attacks. 2 on Waleed, 1 on Ning, and 1 on Pema. Now, there is no initiative in Quest. So, Agatha, if you want to do something, you are still hidden. They actually are like, they run past you, and you are right behind them. Now, is there anything that you'd like to do, Agatha?
Is any of them Lee the Mountain or the Swallow guy?
These are just your standard bandits.
Can I jump in or?
Our severe setback has been that they have now been alerted to your presence, and you are about to face 4 attacks between the 3 of you.
So I don't know if I can jump in here because you said there's no initiative, which is to say I would like to activate and you can let me know if I can or can't. But I would like to provoke them, but I would also like to activate my iron skin. So the provoke makes them attack me.
Okay.
All of them attack me.
So you're going to take all 4 of those attacks.
Yeah, but also hoping that if I spend 3 action points with iron skin, I ready my body against the next blow and ignore all damage. I guess that won't be for the next 4 blows.
Not for the next 4 blows.
Okay, so it'll be 1. Maybe this is a bad idea.
Do you want to?
You're hanging from a tree.
Yeah. Come get me as you just hang from this tree as a giant target. And maybe even this tree has other hanging dummies with crossbow bolts stuck in them that they've been used for target practice.
Well, okay, in that case, can I just do an intercept? And somebody was about to attack Pema, right?
Yes. There's going to be 1 attack on Pema, 1 on Ning, and then 2 on you.
Okay.
So,
yeah. I will.
Now, yeah.
I'm gonna spend, if that's okay, if I can jump in here. So I am going to turn on Iron Skin. I'm going to turn it on for. I'm going to spend 1 AP and just do you render your body resistant to non-magical damage, which can negate up to 3 points of damage. So hopefully these people will roll low, and I can shrug off at least a couple of the blows.
So 2 hits. So a standard hit from a conventional weapon does 2 damage. So you're facing 4 damage, and you'll negate 3 of that.
Which is not bad, but I still want to try to run an intercept and get just the attack that was going to go on Pema, because I don't know the extent of her powers. So,
or
I think she's.
I think what Dongfeng will do is like and like
stand up. You just rise out of the garden.
Yeah, and use my Guandao and attack the closest one.
Sweet. So let's let Dongfeng go first, since Dongfeng was able to successfully sneak. Dongfeng, you'll get an attack, so you're going to roll your d20. Again, no bonuses, but your Guandao will do 2 damage. Oh, damn. So that's a success.
19.
So, Dongfeng, you stand up with your Guandao, and you chop one of the bandits down with your Guandao. And he crumples to the ground as this massive bladed polearm slices through his shoulder, kind of cutting him open. He falls to the ground, and his crossbow, which would have targeted Ning, clicks and fires off into the sky. The other ones are going to attack Pema. Now, Waleed, you're still going to do your. You're going to use your iron skin, and you're going to use intercept.
Yeah, I think so. Unless I can jump in with Yop, which is what we're seeing you.
Yeah, you could try to scare them.
Yeah, I think that actually might be the most appropriate here, because if I screw it up and roll poorly, this will be very entertaining.
So you could even use the fact that Dongfeng has cut one of them down, and you could try to scare the remaining ones. So there's 4 guys left. Remember, there were 4 crossbow bandits and 1 who had just taken a piss. Now there are 4 left.
Okay, sweet. So there are 4 left. So I think what Waleed is going to do is he's going to make a show of bravado to frighten nearby creatures. Any common folk nearby will seek shelter, run away, or attempt to appear non-threatening, and the effects apply to minions in some fashion. So I will attempt to scare them by saying, "We've got you surrounded." I'm still hanging by like.
We've got you surrounded, and you're hanging. Okay,
amazing.
Throw down your weapons, and nobody will be hurt.
Okay, give it a roll.
So let's start with that.
Nobody will be hurt, but one person is literally bleeding out right now.
Nobody will be hurt. So you got a 7. So on a 6 to 10, 1 minion flees the scene unless their boss is present. So you got to say, "We've got you surrounded," and one of the person who had who you literally caught with his pants down kind of goes, "Oh no!" and he kind of turns in the opposite direction. As he runs in the opposite direction, the Emerald Standard assault the bandit temple compound and begin engaging with some of the bandits at the entrance of the temple. He turns and he literally sees them, and he's like, "They do have us surrounded." The other crossbow bandits kind of turn, and they see this, like, you look silly. You're hanging from a tree. You're like, "We have you surrounded." Maybe you're waving your Dao. And they just raise their crossbows and go click, and they shoot at you.
Oh no.
But you have your iron skin on, so
Yeah,
you're going to
so it's
reduce
kind of
3 damage. So the maximum amount of damage you're going to take is going to be 6, but you'll take 3 instead. So here's the first attack. I roll a d20 just like you. 13 is a hit. I'll roll again. A 19 is also a hit. And a 19 is also a hit.
Jeez.
So, Waleed, as you kind of say, we have you surrounded, one of them runs, terrified. He genuinely believes that you have them surrounded, seeing Ning, Pema on the wall, you hanging from the tree, and Dongfeng cutting one down from the vegetable garden. The 3 of them kind of go, well, I guess we'll take care of this guy. And they click, 3 crossbow bolts strike you right in the chest, knocking you off the tree. The tree branch snaps from the force that you've just been hit with, and you fall face first into the ground. Luckily, you have your iron skin on, and you've only taken 3 damage out of your 10 health.
Right. Yeah, I'm just gonna like continue lying down and basically pretend like they got me.
And then they go,
For the moment.
and they begin loading their crossbows. They in this commotion, Dongfeng, Ning, and Pema have an opportunity to do something because they shoot you and they kind of turn, and one of them kind of looks up at you, Dongfeng, and with the moonlight, and I don't think they've ever seen a 7-foot tall shrimp before. You look super sinister, and they begin
Shadows cast on me.
The shadows cast on you, and I think they now begin to genuinely believe that they are surrounded. What do the rest of you do?
I think Ning kind of at the top here is kind of like surveying kind of the situation here. And I think there's an opportunity. So I think Ning's going to jump down from the wall and kind of like take the impact to just kind of roll into it.
Yeah.
And then kind of Naruto style will draw out Josha's edge, but not actually have them activate just yet. And I'd like to use my Yosha ability here, which is to draw my signature weapon. And I want like these water blades to like just come out kind of in the moonlight and whatnot. And there's been like maybe some rumors or something that there is this one commander, this is this Imperial soldier who has this blessed weapon that, you know, is impossibly sharp.
Yeah.
And Ning's going to use that and just kind of rush into the fray wielding these things of legend. Or I guess folklore now.
So signature weapon, if you spend 1 AP, you can use it to deal 2 extra damage.
Yes.
Okay. I'll let you know because I don't want you to have to waste it. Your basic attack will kill them.
Yes, but it also has the other effect that all minions are like,
yes. So you want to impress
by it.
So you want to use that. Okay, cool, perfect. So roll your attack. So you're gonna jump down, roll, and as you draw your signature weapon to kill one of them, let's see if you do it.
Oh no, I don't. Oh no!
So
that was so close to an 18.
So
I
close to
know.
an 18.
It's a 2.
As you leap out, leap down, roll, and you run to grab one of them, one of them tosses his crossbow aside and catches your hand, effectively corking the weapon. And now there's this like tense spot where they grab your hand, and Josha's edge cannot be unsheathed. At least one of them.
Yeah.
Pema and Dongfeng, what are you gonna do? Well, Jade, what would you like to do? You haven't done anything yet.
I'm gonna scramble a bit backwards, and I'm gonna swirl my hands in the air and create a thick fog that like rolls out from me rapidly.
Nice.
And it blankets everything in fog, and creatures cannot make ranged attacks.
Sick.
They can't see beyond their reach.
Yeah, so fog surrounds all of you. Ning, you are within reach of someone. They have their hand on you, and you are grappling them while standing. And they're kind of eyeing you, and they'd be like, soldiers from the capital. Oh, well, I can't wait to wear your armor. And you can see that this person is wearing like really, really crappy looking Emerald Standard armor. And they see your Sovereign Banner armor, and they want it. You could tell that they're actually treating the weapons and armor of people they kill as trophies. Dongfeng, Fog surrounds you, and you can't see anything. Likewise with Waleed. What will you do? Otherwise, I would have put the spotlight on Steve.
I will crouch on the ground so I can. I'm really hoping that the fog is the same as smoke, so that closer to the ground, I can see better. So I'm gonna start crawling away from the fog. I'm sure they have this covered. I'm gonna go and look for the big bouses.
So you start just crawling. You have a general sense of the area. So you just begin crawling, and as you're crawling, you see footsteps, feet walk all around you. I think somebody might actually like run over you. But you've got this like exoskeleton, so it doesn't really harm you or anything. As you keep crawling, and as you get to the edge of the fog, you see a pair of feet standing right where you are.
I look up.
and as you look up, you see this woman. She wears, she stands like 7 feet tall, has an incredibly muscular build. She's got a scar that runs along the side of her face, and she wears like emerald standard armor, but she's got one, I'd say it's like the helmet of somebody from the Sovereign banner, but all of the imperial insignias have been scratched out with a knife. In one hand, she has it's a Janmao Dao. It's like a horse cleaving Dao. It's a Dao that's anti-cavalry. It's a giant two-handed it's a Chinese greatsword. And she holds it in one hand, reaches down and picks you up by the scruff of your neck, Dogfog, and like holds you up in the air. And she kind of turns you in the moonlight like effortlessly, and is like, "Well, what do we have here? I think I'll wear your shell-like armor." We're gonna go to Ning. Ning, you're like grappling with one of these soldiers. This soldier is fighting you. I think they seem to understand that you've got some sort of alchemical weapon. What do you do?
So I think I'm gonna make a basic attack on this person, but as they kind of like have that vial stopped, Ning of course has 2 swords, and it seems like this person has gotten cocky, kid.
Yeah.
So
I think probably has a hand on your wrist and the other hand on top, and is like, "Ha, what are you gonna do now?"
And I think Ning lets this kind of bravado work against this person. And as they're pressing down on it, Ning lets that arm go completely limp and maybe just kind of knocks him off balance a little bit.
He kind of falls forward.
And then Ning takes the other weapon here, the twin blade, and makes that basic attack.
Yeah. 13.
We're finally getting some successes
You're
here.
getting some success. 13 is a hit. So you're going to deal 2 damage. And as you kind of let your hand go, he loses his grip on you as he falls forward, and you kind of spin in place. And as you turn, you whip around with your vial of living water. And as the water whips around like a whip, it solidifies just as you strike this person's back. And you strike him, and he falls face first into the garden. And as you turn around with so much force, and this water whips through the foggy air so fast that it actually disperses the fog in the area in one strike. As this happens, you see Dongfeng being held in the air by, well, who you now recognize, Pema, as Li the Mountain.
Yeah. One last thing.
Yeah.
We talked about this, but whenever Josha's edge strikes and draws blood, the water itself takes on this reddish hue.
Yeah, your blade, your crystal blade now looks red. One of them does.
Oh.
One of them.
That does not go well.
And the soldiers, you can hear them. They begin fighting. Did you order them to apprehend any of these bandits, or just kill them?
This is a kill on sight kind of situation.
Okay, so they just begin spearing them. There's actually a really good scene in The Longest Day in Chang'an, where they enter that building and they just start killing everyone. That's exactly what's happening here. Your soldiers run in with shields, very well trained. They pin them up against trees, impale them with their spears, and they begin taking them all down.
I know exactly the scene because I got so much cognitive dissonance because it's filmed like it's calculus. It's filmed like it's just normal.
Yeah.
But then you have to deal with the fact that these are human lives being taken, and you just have these very trained soldiers that are just like doing what they are trained to do, and they're doing it very well. And you're supposed to be impressed, but you're also very sad about it because of the
That's how they
context of
treat
that
the
scene.
people. Yeah, they just go in and kill everyone on sight. I'm gonna turn to Waleed. Waleed, you've just you're played dead. Ning has killed a soldier. Feng has killed a soldier and disappeared. And there are now 2 soldiers left. What is Waleed gonna do? They finished loading their crossbows, and one of them actually loads a bolt in.
So Waleed also took advantage of the fog to crawl closer to the soldiers. So when the fog dissipates, if it's cool, I'm just like at their feet, and we both kind of look at each other.
Yeah, because he's loading and looking down at his crossbow.
Exactly.
And he's facing you.
Yeah.
And what do you do?
I'm gonna see if I can swing my dao and just cut both of them off at the like
ankles. At the ankles? Oh shit!
Oh, no.
Okay, yeah, give it a roll.
All right, let's see. 9.
That's a tough choice.
Yep.
Okay, so you wanted to hit both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you're going to swing it with such force that you might let go of your dao.
Oof. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Or maybe it kind of gets stuck in the second ankle. Ugh. Grisly.
The guide gives you a choice between 2 setbacks.
It's 2 setbacks.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first one is going to be you're going to swing and you're going to cleave through both of them and land 2 what will be mortal blows. You've cut off their feet. They will die. One is that you lose your sword. The other is that he's going to shoot you. Point blank.
Oh no. Oof. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'll take it if that's what's happening.
Okay, so you're gonna Waleed. He kind of look at you. I feel like Waleed would be smirking.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
Gotcha. You swing.
Here I am.
You swing your dao with such force, and the fog has actually left your hands a little slippery.
Yep.
You swing your dao and it flies through the air, almost like a boomerang. You chop both of these guys down. They scream. The crossbow bolt goes off right next to your head. They scream, lying on the ground. Ah, my feet! My feet! I don't know if Pema, Ning finished them off, but these 2 are screaming.
Yeah,
And Waleed, like cinematically, as you let go of your blade, it cuts to an angle in the distance where the blade is flying towards something, and then a foot comes down and steps on the blade. Midair, stopping it in place. A very slender-looking man wearing white robes is standing there before you. He kind of chuckles. He goes, somebody's overcompensating with this dao. And you see that he's got like all these straps. He's got leather armor on with like over top of flowing white robes. And attached to his leather armor are maybe dozens of blades. Each blade bears the same shape as a feather.
What a cool guy.
What a cool guy. He's like, he thinks he's cool.
I mean, it is cool.
He kind of looks, draws out 2 feathers, and effortlessly flicks them at you.
And me, Waleed?
At you, Waleed, yes. It's only gonna be 1 attack. But if anybody wants to intervene, they can before I roll.
Can I do Iron Skin again?
Yeah, you could pop Iron Skin right now. You've lost your sword. It makes sense.
Yeah, so I think I go ahead and spend another action point, AP, and then I will negate up to 3 points of damage.
I think if I spot this, I want to try to get at the sparrow.
Yeah, So you want
hmm?
to attack him as he's attacking Waleed?
Yes, yeah. So I want to pull out. I have like a tanbo that I usually use just for defense, and that's kind of like a short staff, a quarterstaff. And I point it at him, and I cast Magic Strike. So from the end of the tanbo, I'm imagining it like a firework, like a missile just shoots out.
That missile just shoots out. So
yeah, to his face.
So I think he's actually making 2 attacks at you, Waleed, because he threw 2 of them, and he's a boss. So bosses have multiple attacks. So 15 hits, and a 6 is a tough choice. So I'm going to say this opens him up for an attack from Pema. So I will not be able to use his other abilities to negate Pema's attack. So one of the feathers actually strikes you, but it bounces off your skin. It actually hits you in the throat. But you've been using your iron skin ability, and the 2 damage that you would have taken is negated by that. And make sure you're tracking your adventure points. Pema, you're going to use your magic strike, and the opening that you receive will allow you to do this. I'm going to take 2 damage, but you're going to have to roll your dice to attack. So you fire a magic strike, and what does this magic strike look at? Like you're casting it from a staff, but what does the projectile itself look like?
It looks like a firework.
Looks like this firework shoots out, and the so Flying Swallow actually dodges to the side. The firework shoots by him and enters the building where the relics were stored.
Oh shit.
This massive explosion goes off. You can see like pieces of paper falling to the ground.
Oh shit.
The soldiers, the Emerald Sanders soldiers, are like engaging in brutal combat and are slowly cleaning everyone up. Feathers, Flying Swallow begins to just start throwing knives into the ranks of your soldiers, Steve, and begins slowly taking them out. Dongfeng, you're being held up by Li the Mountain. She kind of looks to you. And are you going to do anything? Because she's going to just toss you to the ground.
Yes. I do have a question about how long we're going to be recording for.
Oh, not too much longer. Because we've gone longer, yeah.
Yeah. At this desperate moment, I'm like, ugh. And I don't know. Was it my left hand or my right hand that had?
I think it was your right hand. You're going to use your ability.
Yes.
So you're gonna use that really powerful ability that you have,
yes.
The Gift of the Vermilion Bird.
Yes.
Cool. Are you gonna ignite your fist or your weapon?
I think my weapon, because I'm still holding my guandao in my right hand. So I just gonna ignite it and
the entire area around the temple is completely lit up by this burning guandao that you have. So you're gonna strike. So you can do 2 things. You can either attack and it will deal 4 damage instead of 2, or you can discharge the entire thing for an automatic hit that deals 5 damage.
I will do the latter.
Okay, so
what? Can I describe what it looks like?
Yeah, what does it look like?
So I'm being held up by the scruff of my neck, I guess.
Yeah, like by the front. It's just like lifting.
Oh,
you
by
up.
the front.
Yeah, you're like.
Yeah, and I almost like swing the guandao back in a way as I'm like charging up, and then all of the burns along my exoskeleton, they all glow because they would usually just look like burn marks, but then they suddenly glow with this fiery light, and then they charge down all the way down my arm until they reach the guandao, and then the guandao just like erupts in flames.
Oh, cool.
That's so cool.
And then so you're going to discharge all of this fire on this person?
Yes, and then I swing around, and I'm sure that I think the way that she responded is she would duck away from the swing.
Yeah.
But then the fire hits her.
She ducks from the swing, and while she has dodged the blade, the literal flames that you were drawing with this fire strike her, and it hits her so hard that she actually flies into the flower temple. So she gets knocked with such force that she flies through the makeshift doors into the temple, and you kind of fall to the ground. She lets go of you. You fall to the ground. You stand up, and your guandao is extinguished. You've done 5 damage to Li the Mountain. Who wants to go next? Because Flying Swallow is still throwing knives at your soldiers. You see one of the soldiers actually, who is about to actually strike down one of the bandits, takes 2 feather knives to the base of his skull. He falls over dead.
So describe to me this fog. Is the fog completely dissipated
The
now?
fog is now like fading away now. You immediately dissipated it from the area that you're in, and it's now fading away as Pema has just shot off this magical strike.
So I think one of those feathers kind of like pierces the soldier. Maybe as the second feather is wound up to throw, Ning will use Death Hand one last time, maybe. And
on Feather Swallow? Flying Swallow?
Flying Swallow.
Yeah.
And maybe her shadow like reaches out and grabs that wrist of that shadow. Like her shadow snakes over and grabs that. And maybe that's enough space for their shadows to actually clash here.
Okay. So you are she's about to throw another he's about to throw another knife at one of your soldiers, and he kind of stops. Kind of looks, is like, what? And you see down on the ground, your shadow's actually caught Flag Swallow's wrist's shadow midair, and attempts to rip off his shadow's hand. But this is the boss, and he recoils, and you see that there's this black hand mark, almost like a shadowy bruise on his wrist. He kind of looks down. He's taken 6 damage, and you've taken away one of his attacks.
So I also want to describe that because Death Hand is a very special ability in Quest, because I can't use it again for another turn. So Ning is not great at using this.
How do you
This is something
recharge?
it's got to recharge. So I think Ning, after like that hand rips away, I think there's a moment where Ning kind of like drops to maybe a knee here, and there's like a moment of like slow motion, almost like a muffled sound as Ning's shadow is dissonant with her own being, and that kind of disharmony is causing her to like kind of sway and not be able to use her shadow in such a prevalent way.
And maybe your shadow has to return to you. So the farther the target, the longer it takes you to kind of recharge.
Totally.
Narratively. Waleed, Ammar, you had your hand up. Are you going to do something?
Yes, I would like to do 2 things. One of them is I would like to use Size Up.
Nice.
Which is I'm hoping to get some useful insight into their capabilities, strengths, vulnerabilities, and resistances. And the other thing I would like to do is I would like to grab so there's like 2 crossbows, or even 3 in front of me. I'm gonna load all of them up, and I'm gonna go full John Woo.
So Waleed, you stand up, you're like, and you have 2 crossbows in your hand, and just like a John Woo movie, you just
Doves fly out.
There's doves behind you.
Amazing.
Always with the doves.
And I feel like Waleed is also, because they're crossbows, they don't make like loud noises, so I feel like Waleed is like
Making the sound.
Mouth.
yeah. Like in Star Wars, when they were filming Star Wars, they kept all the actors kept going because they couldn't help it.
I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, right. And so, Waleed, are you gonna? So first, Size Up. You know that Flying Swallow has one of his attacks. He's been wounded so badly that he cannot use his right hand to attack. Based on Flying Swallow's build, you know that he relies on agility. He's also running out of knives. So he might have to change how he approaches you folks in combat. But right now, you might be able to charge him down and just fire 2 crossbow bolts at him.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do that. And I guess is there aiming in this system or anything like that?
You can just tell me, and if you hit that spot.
I guess he's been taking knives off, which you mentioned, you seem to suggest was also his armor. To throw them. So it's like maybe there's holes somewhere,
Cool. Yeah. So you're gonna charge forward and try to aim for those spots.
That's right. That's what he is going to do.
Sweet. So roll 2 attacks.
Bam.
Let's see what you get. 5 is a failure.
Dang.
And a 4 is a failure.
Waleed has lost everyone.
So Waleed, you pick up these crossbows and
Hard
you're just like,
time.
and you run. You begin to dash forward, and maybe you do one of those John Woo leaps through the air, and you fire 2 bolts, and cinematically they fly in slow motion towards Flying Swallow. And Flying Swallow literally, they were about to hit like 2 openings in the armor, and he literally does a spinning wheel kick and kicks both of the crossbow bolts away.
Ooh.
What a cool guy!
What a cool guy!
What a cool guy! His eyes, he is now set on you.
I'm not even mad anymore. That was so cool.
Yeah, no one can be mad at that.
He reaches out for one of his feather knives,
Gosh.
and he kind of like holds it up to his head, speaks some magical words, and he rubs it across his whole body. And what it does is it actually collects every single remaining knife and forms a metallic, almost like fan or wing in his one hand. And he begins, he kind of, like anime runs, he kind of goes, "Hoo!" and charges towards you, Waleed, and is going to attack you.
All right.
A 4, and it just covered Agatha's face in the overlay. He charges at you and swings with this bladed wing. And Waleed, you manage to, as you were diving to the ground, you tuck and you roll just out of the way as he cleaves an opening into the ground.
Oof.
I want to go back to Pema. Pema, you see this happening. You see that Waleed is engaged in combat with Flying Swallow. And as you turn, you see Dongfeng has just unleashed this magical fire attack. As Dongfeng stands in front of this temple, Li the Mountain emerges. She smashes the doors open, has this massive sword, and has this, like, her armor is burnt, her face is burnt, her hair is actually singed. She walks out with this blade. What are you, Pema, going to do? And then what are you going to do, Ning?
I want to get out of the line of sight from the that room with all the documents.
Yes.
Sorry, don't fuck that up again. And I don't know. I think I'm a bit hesitant right now to cause any more destruction. I think. What's the rest of the battleground looking like?
It looks as though the rest of the soldiers are dealing with the bandits.
Okay.
Waleed and Ning were able to draw the attention away from the away from the Emerald Standard soldiers, so they were able to complete their task.
Okay. Oh, I think I'm going to hold. I think I'm going to hold right now.
Wait. So Ning, what are you going to do? You had previously attacked the throwing hand of Flying Swallow. So what are you going to do now?
So as Flying Swallow kind of like makes that gash in the earth and whatnot, I'm going to activate one of my other abilities called Sneak Attack. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually going to spend 1 AP and make an instant basic attack against them.
Yep.
But before doing that, I know Waleed is there, kind of like in a bad situation with no Dao to protect himself. And I love this. But I think Ning's going to take the right-handed vial, because she's right-handed.
Yeah.
And actually throw half of Josha's edge to Waleed.
Oh, shit. Oh. So you're going to toss it to Waleed?
So the blade kind of like descends back into the vial.
Yeah.
And a glass vial is thrown to Waleed.
Oh, gosh.
Waleed, you're scared. You're lying there, toss the crossbows aside, and this like vial comes like flying through the air at you. Are you gonna catch it?
Oh no! Of course I'm gonna catch it.
No, we let it smash and then
I don't know. Like Waleed, I don't know. Waleed doesn't know this is happening. He's like, it hits Waleed on the head.
I think
you catch it.
Actually calls out Waleed's name. I think like that's powerful.
Okay, there you go.
You're like, there's that connection there.
Nice.
So then,
can I do like a badass flip through the air to grab it too?
You do like a kip up, and you do like an unnecessary backflip, and you catch it midair.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so that means Ning and Waleed both get an attack on Flying Swallow.
All right. I'm going to use my sneak attack here, so I'll use the 1 AP. So with just 1 Josha's edge, half of it is not a success.
You try to sneak attack, and as you swing this crystalline ice blade down on Flying Swallow, he blocks it with the bladed sort of wing, as if it were a shield. Waleed, you have an attack.
All right, let's see if I get any successes this session.
Oh,
Nope.
you kind of
Yikes.
you grab the vial and you go to swing it, and the cork is still on. You just
Why you
kind of
don't go to a bar before?
I know,
so
right?
you're swinging this vial, and you're like, why isn't it working? And then you realize there's a cork, and you pull the cork off, and it goes whoosh, and it extends into a Dao.
Cool.
It's a different weapon, y'all.
Dongfeng, the Li the Mounted kind of steps out of the temple, badly burnt, and is ready to like fight you. Grabs her giant Dao with two hands, puts it to her side, and begins running at you as if winding up for a massive attack. What are you gonna do?
What would I like to do? I would like to run away.
Get the fuck out.
It's not my battle. I guess I will. Yeah, realistically, what Dongfeng would do is try to get out of range because that
So you're
will
gonna try to
hurt.
wait for the moment when Li strikes, and you're gonna try to like roll out of the way.
I will attempt that. I
Okay, give it a
suppose.
roll.
Yikes.
Let's see what you get. You
Oh,
rolled two
sorry.
d20s.
Oh,
I don't know. Oh yeah, it's my mouse. It double clicks sometimes.
Okay, yeah, just
I'll-
cancel it
I'll-
and just roll again. Oh!
Oh, D20.
all right.
So
20.
whoosh, swings her blade, and you literally, Dongfeng, you actually backflip out of the way.
Yes, of course I do.
Shrimp backflip.
You shrimp back. Maybe you like. Woo, woo, woo. I don't know what that is. But Dongfeng, you're able to dodge out of the way, and so
I would like to dodge out of the way and then land really cool with my Guandao.
okay, cool. You land
Yeah.
super cool looking, and
Yeah.
since you got a crit, I'll say, or a triumph in this game, I'll say that Li the Mountain has swung her blade so hard that she's left herself completely vulnerable,
Yes.
opening
So I
herself
get
up to somebody.
Yeah, I'm gonna release my action, I suppose.
I release my action.
When I see her running at Dongfeng. And I'm going to just drop my tambo and just raise my arms, and I'm going to cast Fireball.
So Dongfeng is out of the way. You're gonna cast Fireball, and you're gonna shoot it. So this might be the first time that Pema actually uses this kind of magic.
Like magic to harm people.
Kamehameha.
Basically.
You roll that d20.
Let's see.
Ooh, a 6
right.
is a hit.
Woof,
Finally.
woof, it
Close
is.
call.
So close call, because
Woof, yeah.
Gosh.
now you have to choose one. The explosion hits you and up to 4 creatures near impact, or the fireball fizzles into a cloud of smoke.
Oh. That's good impact.
Yes.
So you uncontrollable magic, and you shoot this fireball, and it strikes. It's gonna hit. It's gonna hit Li the Mountain. But you've never really used this ability before, and it's almost like you've taken your burn ability that you used, except this time you shoot a fireball forward, and as this fireball flies through the air, it begins to spin. And as it spins, these basically like huge arms of flame begin cursing around the area, burning buildings and trees, and it strikes Li, incinerating Li the Mountain, and there's this massive explosion. I'm going to say that Ning will lead, yourself, Pema, will need to make, and Agatha and Dongfeng will all need to make a roll to try to dodge the explosion.
I'll go first.
Yeah, go
I'll
for
go
it.
second.
Well, you could all just roll, because we have different colored dice.
Right.
Waleed gets a 6, a tough choice. Agatha So
No.
Jade gets a 16, Steve gets a 17, and Dongfeng is gonna get 2.
Oh, sorry.
So this fireball goes off, whoosh, engulfs the entire temple complex.
I mean, it
Ning,
kinda makes
you
sense.
seeing this, you dive out of the way. I'm gonna say maybe you take cover behind the. How do you take cover? Actually, I'll ask you that. Same thing with you, Jade. How do you and Ning take cover?
I think I'm gonna take cover behind Dongfeng or something.
Yeah, you're gonna take cover behind Dongfeng.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
Oh, no,
you
that's
shoot this
safe,
forward.
yo.
Ning, what are you gonna do?
I think Ning's gonna leap into the air.
Oh,
Oh.
So it's coming out. I'm picturing like a shockwave. Like it's like
yeah, it's a
pretty low
shockwave
down.
of fire. Yeah.
I think Ning sees it coming and just kneels down and then pounces up into the air.
Sweet. I like that. You kind of leap up.
Yep.
Sweet. I love that. You also have do you have that ability, the spy ability that lets you the hook ability?
I do have the hook ability, but
You don't have to
it's-
use it.
no. It gently glides up, but
Oh, never
we're
mind.
past being gentle.
So you just like leap up into the air. Maybe you grab onto a tree or anything, and this torrent of flame rises through. So, Ammar, I'm gonna give you a 2 setbacks. How much health do you have, Ammar?
Yeah, we've got 7. Left.
7 health. Okay, so
Yeah.
you're gonna take 6 damage if you don't make one of these choices.
Okay.
One of them, since you did succeed, you will instinctively smash one of Josha's edges to the ground, forming a shield around you, a water shield.
Oh.
The second choice is that you are, let's see. I'm going to take a look at your character sheet. Oh, I know. Second choice is that that Qatar that you so value, it might be damaged
Okay.
by the fire.
I mean, I assume it's too late for me to spend 3 AP for my iron skin.
You could do that too. Yeah.
Okay. In that case, actually, I'm just gonna legit just do that. I know it's a bit of a cop out. But
No, that's
I'm
not a
just
cop out
gonna-
at all. Like you see the fire going towards you. What do you do? Do you like take like a stand?
I think I actually start to do. I actually kind of let's see. Oh, I know what to do. I sort of spin and jump into the air. So when the explosion hits, I don't have contact with the ground. I just get like thrown back, and I'm spinning sort of even faster. But since I didn't take any damage, and hopefully this can be kind of graceful, I just kind of end up being blown back by the explosion, and then because I was still spinning and spun faster because of it, like I come back around and kind of do a big leg sweep circle as I come to a slower
Cool.
slow down.
Okay, I've got something neat. So what if I'll kind of meet you there? What if Waleed actually seeing how Flying Swallow had kicked the crossbow bolts out of the way tries the same spin kick? And you put all of you do the same spin kick,
Totally.
and you kick the flames as they come to you. You take no damage, and the force of the flames actually forces you to keep spinning until you come to a stop when you extend your back leg against one of the buildings, steeling yourself against the blow. The building actually crumbles under the blow of your kick as you actually kick to counter the force of you being pushed back.
Brilliant.
so fucking dope.
Yeah.
I'm
So
gonna.
fucking dope.
Thank you for that. Yes, and Daniel. That was awesome.
Oh God! Well, that was for Flying Swallow. Flying Swallow holds out the feather, but he had expended so many of his knives that his shield is not big enough, and he is completely incinerated by the fire. And all that's left are all of these like feather knives that slowly flutter to the ground. The soldiers kind of see this, and they all put their shields together. The remaining soldiers put their shields together to kind of block the fire from them. And while it blocks the fire, it actually throws all of them back.
Yeah.
And there's this huge blast wave, and everybody kind of gets knocked down. Ning, as you kind of land onto the ground after the fire, you see Dongfeng. Don't worry, Agatha. You see Dongfeng standing there.
Dead.
Dead. I killed Dongfeng. No. Pema, you're kind of like, you use Dongfeng to shield yourself. And as you look up, Dongfeng's just kind of standing there. Dongfeng, your I guess your like any like flammable stuff you're wearing is burnt off your body. And you look down and your guandao is ablaze. Your arm glowing with fire. The golden chrysanthemum, one of the 4 nobles that you absorbed, has rendered you immune to flame.
Woof.
What?
Oh, good.
Wow.
And I think we'll end there. I think we'll end there because I know Agatha can't record for much longer. We're gonna end there.
Wild.
I
I feel this now, Steve.
Y'all hold your brain.
What?
Yo, hold your brain. That's we should make that a shirt. So
Or a sticker on Discord and Twitch.
I know, right? We'll end there. You've just destroyed this temple complex.
Yikes.
Damn.
Well, can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs.
Yeah,
We broke a lot of eggs.
broke a ton of eggs.
Also, we said we wanted to see magic. Boy.
You got magic.
There we go.
You got magic. I learned a lot from our wuxia podcast episode. I tried to like make this more wuxia
Awesome.
and
Thinking
xianxia.
about it.
So at the end of every session, what we do is we talk about our stars and wishes. So we'll start with stars, and we're actually going to go in order of the overlay. So we're going to go Jade, Agatha, Ammar, Steve, and myself. Let's start with Jade. Jade, what was your star? Whatever you liked.
Whatever I liked. I love Steve. I love Steve so much. This is my first
Steve.
year.
Wait, I'll do Steve.
Everyone hold your brain.
Hold your brain.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not holding my brain. I'm holding my mouth because like that's where all my emotions come from.
Oh my god, so cute.
This is my first time playing with Steve, and it did not disappoint. Even just that moment, that first interaction that we had, and how earnestly you responded to how earnestly you responded. I really bought into it. And I'm just super excited to be fueled by more moments like that. Yeah.
Oh.
All
All right, Agatha.
Cute.
Agatha, what is your star?
My star goes to Jade. I like how quickly you slotted into the role playing and into your role, and the way that you were immediately responding, not just responding, but also taking initiative in the things that Pema was doing. So like running to different places and then being like, I'm here to help. This is my, like, I don't know how much time you spent on figuring out like Pema's motivations and stuff, but I felt like she was very strong as a character from the get-go. And I appreciated that. I feel like you were already driving a lot of narrative action as soon as you joined, which is nice. So that's my star.
Thank you.
Okay,
That's
Ammar,
fantastic.
what is yours?
Well, my star, not to cop out again, but my star goes to all of you for handling a fairly heavy scene. I know. But I mean it this time, which is to say, Waleed was having a PTSD flashback and dissociating quite a bit there. And so it's really cool the way you handled that sensitively, both out of the game, like both as players and then also as your characters. So thank you very much. That was really solid.
Steve.
I have so many stars that I want to give out, but I
You
know
get
the
two.
rules.
You get two. You get two.
I get two. Okay.
Yeah.
So first goes to Jade. because Ning, I was being honest, but also I was kind of afraid because like Ning was being a real bitch to you, to your character, and I was like, oh my god, am I being really mean to our player? And like I was really worried, but I feel like we kind of knew we wanted like narrative tension, and we just kind of like let it happen because now we're in this like dope ass scene where I think a lot of growth can happen, and I'm so excited for next session. Holy crap! And the second star, actually, Daniel, I'm gonna give you that star because this particular combat here was maybe the most evocative, the most like visceral we've ever had combat. I don't know what changed. I don't know if anything did change, but I just felt like there was a lot more going on, and like I was really really in the moments, and I can't explain it. It was truly like magical for me.
Thank you, Steve. And one of the things I forgot before I do my star is that I forgot to do a mid-roll. So this combat encounter was brought to you by Roll20. One of the things I, you know, like my you know what, I'll do my star first and then we'll do our mid-roll at the end of the episode. My star goes to Jade. I know we're all giving Jade stars, but I want to give Jade a star because in our Zoom chat, I just privately messaged Jade and was like, Fireball will kill Lee in one shot. And then I said, I don't think Agatha can record much longer because Agatha, you had asked how long we're going to do this for. So I was like, hey, Jade, can you do that? And then you work that into the narrative because you had held off your character. You're like, I'm just going to do this thing. And it felt so natural the way everything kind of worked.
Wow. Peek behind the curtains.
Peek behind the curtains. My second star goes to Ammar because I really like how, like, when you had gotten that catastrophe and you're hanging from the tree and you just kind of adapt and you're like, okay, let's just do this. Let's put Waleed in another silly situation. And I love that. I love that so much. Yeah,
thanks.
That was great. But again, a lot of this, you know, was made really easy and cool because of Roll20. Roll20 allowed us to actually do this dice overlay. We learned that from our friend Haram of God's Fall and Does It Roll. Steve and I were recently on the Does It Roll stream /podcast, and we saw this really neat trick that they were doing with using Roll20 and making a green screen out of that overlay and using the virtual dice roller to actually put it onto our video capture through OBS. So thanks, Roll20. Super awesome. It's free to set up an account, build a game, and do exactly what we did with our dice if you're a streamer. And of course, that combat, Steve, doing that kind of combat would not work with D&D.
Yeah.
Would not work with D&D.
I would never think about disarming myself if I'm a 2-weapon fighter by giving a blade to someone else. Like, that'd be ridiculous. It's like so bad mechanically. But here, because I think Ammar, I get to give a 3rd star now. Ammar, I think the moment between Ning and Waleed really speak to me. I love their kind of like machismo moments because their machismo comes, their toxicity comes in 2 different flavors here. Waleed's from like this kind of Robin Hood section, this kind of like thing, and Ning's coming from like a very high sense of duty and family, and they intersect in so many unexpected ways, and I love that you and I get to play around that intersection.
Me too.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And notice how like a character who uses chi doesn't have to be mystical. Right? So yeah, folks, if you want to try out Quest, you can head to adventure.game and use code REPRESENT for 10% off your entire order, be it like the cards, the PDF, or even a hardcover copy. Quest is a fantastic game. Even if they weren't a sponsor of the podcast, I would still love it. And probably still be using it because I loved how we had a fireball, we had swords, we had John Woo moments, we had like Agatha just be like, fire attack swinging a guandao, and like I thought that was awesome. So yeah, thank you Quest for sponsoring us, and thank you Roll20 for making this all possible. Okay, so we have our wishes. So we've done our stars. It's time for wishes. Jade, what do you want in the next session?
Can you remind me? Is this is just for anything, like
anything.
for
It could be
myself
like,
or for?
It could be for your character. It could be for another character. It's like, oh, Ammar, I'd like to see you try this. Or it's like, hey, Daniel, I want to discover this theme, or like I want, for example, like I want us to lean into the fact that Pema just destroyed this entire temple complex.
Yeah.
So it's like it's whatever you want, or it's like I would like to not have to talk about that.
Mm-hmm. I want to. I think I've lived in this village my whole life, and I make friends with the people that come through for the hot springs, etc. And I like hearing their stories. And I think this encounter has introduced me to just something I haven't experienced before, and I want to know more. I want to get to know these people more. So
okay, get to know the other party members. Perfect. Agatha, what is yours?
My wish is multifold, which is that I do want Dongfeng at some point to, first of all, I would love for a conversation between Dongfeng and Pema. I was hoping for that this session, but it didn't quite happen. There was a lot of build up to the battle, which I understand.
Yeah.
And I also would like for Dongfeng to have a conversation with Waleed. That was also one thing that I was hoping could happen, but we again didn't have time for it. And then the conversation with Boss, because
okay,
we've been meaning to talk for a long time.
Yes, we should talk.
Perfect. All right, Ammar, what is your wish?
They stole mine. Which is to say, in a number of games I've been in, when you introduce a new character, a new player to the group, it can sometimes be a bit like odd how they get integrated into the group. Mm-hmm. I feel like this was actually so seamless, it's basically a non-event, but I kind of want to call that out, which is to say, the way that Jade's character came in and helped Waleed and sort of get through this built a lot of trust with the party. So that removes one kind of issue that often happens with these things. And the other thing has now shown herself to be a powerful potential asset. So it like makes a lot of sense for why we might ask her to go and join the party. But specifically, I would like to see that process of integrating into the party a bit more. So definitely want to have an actual conversation between Waleed and Pema, and definitely want to see more Dongfeng and Pema conversations as well, just to kind of, feel it out. And
sweet. So we got a role play episode next time.
Solid.
Okay, Steve.
I'm going to echo the roleplay one, but I'm going to be slightly more direct here. I felt that the interactions of Woosan and Han actually were a little overbearing for this. I feel like we could have actually kind of had the conversation between us as the players, rather than have Han and Woosan kind of like come in and kind of like guide us. I felt a tiny bit stifled, and that because obviously, Daniel, I really want you to tell your story. So when Han says something, I really want to like pause everything and just like listen to it. But that takes away, in my opinion, a little bit of the time it takes for other conversations between our different characters. So next session, my wish is Han and Woosan to take maybe more of a back seat while we have these moments that we really, really crave.
Done.
Do we get to go back to the hot springs? Can we have a proper hot spring episode?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna think.
Nice.
I'm gonna say that everything that was said was really good too. Food. That's
Food.
it.
Nice.
That's what I would say. I want food.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, I know it's late for you as well, Jade. So I want to thank all of you for just like playing the way you play, because I really enjoy this game. I really enjoy what we all get to do together.
Seriously, thank you so much for having me on.
If you listeners are if you're listening to this, if you are watching this on YouTube, and you have any questions, you can always get in touch with us on social media. You can find us on Twitter at AZNSRepresent. If you are a member of our Discord server, right now, as of recording, we are not taking in new members. But if you are already a member of the Discord server and you have questions, please throw them in our podcast discussion channel. and we're more than happy to answer there. If you have any sponsorship inquiries or just private questions, you could always send us an email at aznsrepresent@oneshotpodcast.com. So we're going to try to do the sign-off. Okay,
Yes.
so it's going to be, I'm going to go me, Agatha, Jade, Ammar, and then Steve. Okay, so I'm going to go, I'm Daniel.
I'm Agatha.
No, is it
I'm
me?
Jade. Oh, shit.
That's fine.
What?
I'm Daniel. It's supposed to be, it's me, Jade, Agatha, Ammar, Steve.
Sorry.
Oh,
okay.
it is
The same
Oh, okay,
order that
sorry.
we were doing Stars and Wishes.
Oh, got
right.
it. Copy.
It's okay. I'm Daniel.
I'm Jade.
I'm Agatha.
I'm Ammar.
I'm Steve.
And you've just listened to
Asians Represent.
Oh, God, that's rough.